Welcome to the Board Business Channel.
Great to be here.
So we're looking at something pretty critical today, right? Global manufacturing. It's facing these, well, huge talent shortages.
Huge. And it's not just about finding new people, it's the risk, the massive risk of losing decades of know-how. You know, the veterans, the experts on the factory floor.
Exactly. How do you even begin to digitize the genius of your best engineer? The one who just knows how things work before they retire?
Yeah.
Or maybe move to that new plant overseas?
That's the million-dollar question, or maybe billion-dollar, given the stakes.
Right.
You're expanding, diversifying supply chains, but you need that new factory in, say, Mexico or Vietnam to perform just like the one back home that's been running for 30 years? How?
Okay, so this brings us to Profet AI, founded back in 2018. They seem to be positioning themselves as the answer here.
They certainly are. And their team, it's worth noting, has serious chops. We're talking 20-plus years in international software and manufacturing. They actually understand the factory floor, the physics of it all.
Yeah, the CEO, Jerry Huang, talks a lot about this. Geopolitical instability, needing to expand across borders.
Right, and he frames the core challenge as preventing leakage of core technology, of that senior knowledge.
Which is where their idea comes in. He calls it, what was it? Virtual technical inheritance.
That's the term, virtual technical inheritance.
Sounds impressive, like bottling up the wisdom of that 60-year-old engineer, the one who's seen every possible glitch and turning it into code.
Code that a manager at a brand new plant can use anywhere in the world. That's the goal.
And here's the kicker, the claim that really caught my eye. They promised to implement their industrial AI solutions in 1 week.
Within 1 week, yeah.
1 week. I mean, that sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? If you know anything about typical AI projects.
It does sound incredibly fast. Because usually you're talking months, maybe longer, data cleaning, model building, testing.
Yeah.
It's a process.
So what's the catch? Do you need perfect, pristine data sets already lined up? Have you basically got to solve half the problem yourself before they even walk in the door?
That's a really fair question, because traditional AI does often require that. Plus, you know, teams of expensive data scientists. Profet AI's speed comes down to their whole approach, what they call plug and play.
Okay.
It centers on their no-code AutoML platform. AutoML standing for automated machine learning.
Right, automated machine learning. So they're essentially selling a virtual data scientist in a box.
That's a pretty good way to put it, yeah. It automates the really heavy lifting.
Okay, so what exactly is being automated here? What gets squeezed out of that typical 6 to 8 week timeline?
It's the stuff that usually requires deep statistical knowledge and a lot of coding time. Things like feature engineering, figuring out which data columns matter most, then selecting the best algorithms for the specific problem, tuning all those complex hyperparameters.
Oh, okay, so the platform handles the complex math and coding side.
Exactly. Which means the domain expert, the chemical engineer who knows the materials, or the R&D guy who understands the process can focus on the actual problem. Quality control, machine settings, material inputs.
So the person who actually knows why the machine jams up on rainy Tuesdays is the one building the AI solution, not some external data wizard who doesn't know the process.
That's the core idea. Democratizing AI, they call it. Empowering the IT staff, the R&D teams, the people already there to build these high-quality predictive models themselves, quickly.
And this AutoML is part of a bigger suite.
Yeah, they have AutoML for building the models, AILM, that's AI lifecycle management for governing them, making sure they stay accurate, then AI Studio for deploying them, and this concept they call the domain twin.
The domain twin.
Okay.
I've heard of digital twins, virtual models of a physical machine or process. How is a domain twin different? This sounds like their strategic secret sauce.
It really is. A digital twin simulates the physics of the machine. The domain twin, or Lingyu Jingyan Fenshin, as they say, is focused on capturing and operationalizing human expertise.
Human expertise. So not just how the machine runs, but how the best person runs the machine.
Precisely. We're talking about systematizing tacit knowledge. That gut feeling, that intuition, the stuff a veteran engineer knows after 20 years on the job, but, you know, can never quite write down in a manual.
Okay, wow. So if a digital twin is a virtual factory floor, the domain twin is like a virtual version of your most experienced engineer walking that floor, making those subtle, correct adjustments. That is a big difference.
Huge. And think about the advantages for companies expanding globally. First, security.
Right. Crucial.
Their platform can be deployed on-premise. So all that critical R&D data, production recipes, trial results, it stays inside the company's own network, locked down.
Keeping the crown jewels safe, basically. Doesn't matter where the new factory is physically located. Okay, that makes sense. What's the second advantage? Scale.
Exactly, scale. Once you've digitized that expertise into the domain twin, you have a standardized way to build what they call AI SOPs, standard operating procedures driven by AI.
AI SOPs.
So you can instantly replicate the master craftsman's knowledge across 5 new factories simultaneously. Imagine the training implications.
It standardizes best practices based on your top expert everywhere.
And they report it accelerates training efficiency by something like 40%. New staff aren't starting from scratch. They're starting at step 8, guided by this virtual expert system.
That 40%, that's where the serious ROI starts to show up. Okay, let's talk payoff. You mentioned some case studies that show this virtual technical inheritance in action. Where do we start? High-end R&D.
Yeah, let's start there. A semiconductor equipment supplier. Really high-tech stuff. They specialize in ultra-precision temperature control for making advanced chips.
Okay, and the challenge?
They needed to tighten their temperature control massively, from plus minus 0.01 degrees Celsius, which is already incredibly precise, down to 0.001 degrees, a 10-fold improvement.
Wow, that sounds hard.
Extremely. They were stuck on it for over a year, just completely hitting a brick wall.
A year? Why so long?
It's often down to what they call coupled parameters. You adjust one setting, maybe coolant flow, and it messes up 3 other things, like pressure and stability, in ways you just can't predict easily, so it becomes endless trial and error, expensive trial and error.
Right. A year of budget, engineers' time, just dead end after dead end. Frustrating.
Totally. But then they took all their data, including the failed experiments, the historical tests, everything, and fed it into Profet AI's AutoML platform.
Yeah.
The system acted like this super efficient research assistant. It sifted through everything, filtered out the noise, the variables that didn't really matter, and pinpointed the 2 or 3 critical factors, the ones that were truly driving the temperature stability.
So it found the hidden connection they couldn't see?
Essentially, yes. It showed them exactly where to focus their adjustments.
And the result? Don't tell me.
They found the optimal parameters and completed that year-long R&D project in less than 7 days.
Less than a week. From over a year to under a week. That's exponential acceleration.
It really shows the power of focusing R&D efforts correctly.
Okay, amazing R&D story. Let's shift gears. What about straight-up cost savings? You mentioned a major materials manufacturer. Panels, polarizers.
Yes, a big player in that field. They had a serious pain point with their existing AI setup.
What was the issue?
Cost, mainly. They were using 2 different international AI systems, and the combined annual cost was over 20 million TWD.
20 million.
Okay.
For our listeners, that's roughly, what, $600,000-700,000 US dollars?
Yeah.
Annually? Just for software licenses and maintenance?
Yeah, a huge operational expense. Really hard to justify the ongoing cost versus the perceived benefit they were getting at the time.
So they switched.
They brought in Profet AI and one other system, and their total annual cost dropped to around 2 million TWD.
Whoa, from 20 million down to 2 million. That's a 90% cut in software spend right there.
Immediately. But the kicker wasn't just the license fees, it was the performance improvement.
So the new system actually worked better too.
Significantly better. They calculated that the combination of the lower cost, the better CP value or cost performance, and the improved functionality saved them a high 8-figure TWD sum in the first year alone.
High 8 figures. So millions of US dollars saved in year 1. Not just on software, but on operations.
Exactly. Huge ROI.
What were they actually using the AI for day to day?
A key application was reducing scrap material, especially during those quick production changeovers, switching from one product spec to another. Human operators often rely on sort of best guesses to adjust formulas quickly.
Right, and errors mean waste.
Lots of waste. The AI provided really precise, data-driven guidance on the parameters, minimizing that scrap even during rapid transitions. They also used it to help R&D explode complex new formulas more efficiently.
So the domain twin providing real-time guidance on the factory floor. Makes sense.
Okay.
Let's tackle that really tricky area. Human intuition and design. The tire manufacturer.
Yeah, a global top 10 tire company. A tire R&D, as you can imagine, is incredibly complex.
I bet. How long does it usually take?
Well over 2 years, typically. You're balancing hundreds of raw materials, different polymers for the rubber mix, steel core densities, tread patterns. It's a black art, almost.
And traditionally, that relies entirely on the wisdom of senior engineers.
Absolutely. The senior material scientists, the compound experts, people with decades of experience just knowing how adjusting one ingredient will affect grip or wear or noise.
It's amazing to think AI can capture that level of, well, feeling, that expert intuition. I picture someone smelling the rubber mix.
That's exactly the kind of tacit knowledge they aim to capture. And within about a year of using the platform, they'd systematically identified hundreds of key factors influencing specific tire performance characteristics.
Hundreds?
Yeah, things linking raw materials and process settings to final performance metrics like wet grip, rolling resistance, which affects fuel economy, and really importantly now, tire noise.
For quiet electric and hybrid vehicles, that's a huge market need.
Precisely. So instead of 2 years of building prototypes, road testing, and relying purely on that veteran intuition, they could now use the AI models, the domain twin, to virtually design and test compounds.
So they could say, we need a tire that's 10% quieter but maintains wet grip. Feed that into the system.
And the AI would help predict the optimal material mix and process parameters to achieve that specific target. It massively compresses the innovation cycle, makes their R&D repeatable, scalable.
Capturing and scaling expertise again. Okay, one more case. This one moves beyond the factory floor. Supply chain.
Right. A major electronics company, mostly B2B tech, they have products with long warranties, like 5 to 7 years.
Okay, long life cycle.
And they used Profet AI for forecasting their inventory needs for maintenance spare parts.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. Predicting how many units of component X you'll need 4 years from now for repairs?
Exactly. If you guess too high, you end up with tons of expensive dead stock capital just sitting there losing value. If you guess too low, you can't meet your service agreements, and customers get very unhappy.
A balancing act with high stakes.
Totally. So they use the AI to analyze historical failure data, products' life cycles, where the products were deployed geographically, all sorts of variables.
And the accuracy.
They achieved over 80% accuracy in predicting their future spare parts needs.
80%? That's fantastic for that kind of long-range forecast.
It made a huge difference, drastically cut down that expensive dead stock, improved their cash flow, and ensured they could meet those warranty obligations globally. A win on efficiency and customer satisfaction.
Okay, so the tech is clearly powerful, delivering real results across different areas. But how do they get companies, especially big ones, to actually use it effectively? Change management is always the hard part, isn't it?
It really is, and that seems to be where their whole citizen AI philosophy comes in, their AI for all strategy.
Citizen AI, what does that mean in practice?
It means they recognize the bottleneck isn't usually the technology itself, it's the organizational culture. So Profit AI puts a lot of emphasis on running these intensive workshops.
Workshops for who? Just the engineers?
No, that's the key. They're designed to quickly train up what they call lay data scientists.
Lay data scientists, you mean people outside of engineering and IT?
Exactly. People from HR, marketing, finance, procurement, departments you wouldn't normally associate with building AI models.
Seriously? HR is building AI models.
Well, maybe simple ones. But the goal is to train them to identify business challenges in their own areas where AI could help, and then use the no-code AutoML platform to actually build basic predictive models relevant to their work.
Ah, I see. So it's about embedding AI thinking across the entire organization, not just keeping it siloed in technical departments.
Precisely. It gets buy-in from everyone. It accelerates adoption much faster because people see how it applies to their jobs, their problems.
That makes a lot of sense for driving real adoption. And it
Oh.
seems to be working. What's their traction like?
It looks pretty strong. They mention adoption by over 160 listed companies.
Wow, 160 plus site sectors.
Key manufacturing areas, as you'd expect. Semiconductor, PCB manufacturing, electronics manufacturing services, EMS, panel makers, chemicals, the core industries facing these global pressures.
That's solid market validation. Any external validation. Funding.
Yeah, they secured a Series A round of $5.6 million in 2023. So investors are clearly seeing the potential.
And they're expanding globally too.
Following their clients' needs, it seems. They've got a joint venture in Suzhou, China, a presence in Japan, and recently they've been showcasing their solutions in Arizona, definitely pushing into the U.S. market.
Okay, so bringing it all together, Profit AI seems really strategically positioned. They're tackling that core paradox for modern manufacturers. How do you scale your operations globally while protecting your most valuable asset, that unique know-how?
They seem to have found a compelling answer. turning human expertise into a digital asset that's secure, that's portable, and crucially, that's operational and scalable.
That domain twin concept really is key. It makes the irreplaceable, replaceable, or at least replicable.
And in today's world, with supply chains constantly shifting, that ability to virtualize and transfer expertise quickly, it's becoming fundamental for resilience.
Yeah, it's interesting. We actually first started looking into Profet AI because of a recommendation from a friend, Steve. He's the executive director of the Arizona, Taiwan office.
Oh, really? What does he say?
He just pointed out that this ability Profet AI has, deploying industrial AI solutions really fast, isn't just a nice-to-have anymore.
Yeah.
For companies needing global resilience, needing to stand up new operations quickly and reliably, it's becoming a necessity.
Yeah, he's definitely onto the trend there. Making that master craftsman virtual, it feels like the next logical step for truly smart manufacturing.
Absolutely. Well, fascinating stuff.
Definitely.
Thank you for listening to the Board Business Channel. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications.